Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Soirée Live Sprints at LTech. We've launched our season 2 last week and we got a great response. We had a lovely speaker, Raksha Kazi, and today we're back with another speaker. Before we start our session today, I'll just quickly, as always, give you all a roundup of what LTech is, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to build here, and then we can start our session. So like I talked about 3 different things that we're focusing on at LTech, which is trainings, content, and events and conferences. I'll just add to what we had announced last week that we have our Freelance 101 starting very soon. Saida Mehek, who is also our co-founder and lead trainer, is leading those trainings. She's head in starting the trainings, I think soon. And if you still want to sign up, or if you want any more information about Freelancing 101, please feel free to reach out, write in the comments. You can reach out to us on email or any of our social media pages. It's free. It's basically a crash course on freelancing, and it is something that we had gotten a lot of queries about, a lot of comments about, that we should start with something like that. She has also just completed her first training with She Labs, which was a longer training. It was a 3-month program on digital literacy skills with with mothers of underserved communities, 53 of them. And within 3 months, she not only taught them digital literacy skills, which included Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Microsoft Excel on a laptop. It was not a laptop, it was the devices that they had at home, which we feel is a very big deal to teach mothers who could not even, type full sentences, to bring them to a point within 3 months to be able to make presentations, do simple calculations on Excel sheets. So that was a big win for us internally. And if you feel that there are organizations that you are working for, or organizations that you feel where such skills for women might be needed, please reach out to us. We have Soirée. We have a lot of episodes lined up for you every week from now. So you're going to be listening to a lot of women talking about their experiences. Now, what is Soirée Live Sprints? We're trying to, like everything else that we're trying to do at LTech, to redefine female heroes for Pakistan. For Soirée, we're trying to bring women to this platform to talk about their experiences, but women who we can relate to, who we can take motivation from and inspiration from, and not at a level that they're that big of celebrities that we don't feel connected or related at any point to them. So they're women everyday, living everyday lives just like you and I, and we want to learn from them and their experiences. And this is just a very small effort that we're trying to do to bring such women to you on this platform. So this is what Soirée Live Sprints is all about. And we have some events coming up, but we're going to announce them on the group shortly in the coming few weeks. So today we have with us Ayesha Shaikh, who is a luxury content consultant. She is has also been formerly a writer at Harper's Bazaar Arabia, and recently the editor at Villa 88. She's based out of the UAE, and we are so proud of you, Ayesha, for all the things that you have achieved in your life, and you've come such a long way. So assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam, Bemisal. I'm very well, thank you. And thank you for all the kind words. I really appreciate it. And I think we all need to support each other. Isi tarah hum aage badhte hain. How's everything with you? And congratulations on LTech. I think you're doing an incredible job with it.
Thank you so much, and Jazakallah for the kind words, Ayesha. So without any delay, can we just straight in get into your story, and you tell us about your journey and how you landed at your current position, and your journey from Pakistan to the UAE.
Bilkul, I'd be delighted to. So, Bemisal, first of all, मैं थोड़ी सी backstory दे दूँ आपको. I set foot in content creation in 2013 when I joined the Express Tribune as the Life and Style sub-editor on their desk. It was fresh out of university, so I had just graduated. And then in less than a year, I was promoted to the position of senior sub-editor on the desk, and my role primarily involved managing content, ensuring that there's seamless content generation on a daily basis, also managing and liaising with the reporters and sub-editors at the desk. And then I continued to work in this role till 2016, which is when I moved to the UAE after I got married. And here I took a year-long hiatus just to settle in. And after that, I landed an editorial internship at Harper's Bazaar Arabia Group, which is basically the Middle Eastern edition of Harper's Bazaar Arabia, which is a prestigious global publication that is 154 years old. And it's been the magazine of choice for women around the world for the longest time. And यहाँ पे मैंने कोई तकरीबन 6 months की internship की, and within those 6 months, I landed the role of editorial assistant. And then shortly thereafter, I became features writer. And I was working across the different platforms that the brand had to offer. So I was doing print, digital, social media, events, and my primary focus was on Harper's Bazaar Art and Harper's Bazaar Interiors, which are the two sister titles of the publication. And then 2 years after I completed my journey, I was hired as the editor of Villa 88. Villa 88 के बारे में मैं आपको कुछ बताऊं. It is a private publication, so it's invitation only, and it's distributed to an exclusive network of Emiratis. It's a luxury lifestyle magazine. So इस role में जो है, and it also is circulated to members of the UAE royal family. So over the next 2 years, I spearheaded the 360-degree operation of the brand. I worked very closely with princesses, ultra-high net worth Emiratis, and with brands such as Prada, Louis Vuitton, Vacheron Constantin, Gucci, Van Cleef & Arpels, etc. And then after nearly 3 years of working at Villa 88 and over 8 years in luxury content creation, I'm now working as a content consultant, and I offer 360-degree services. So it's a wide array of services that I offer, including editorial, PR and communications, branding and rebranding, and client management. तो ये एक snippet है मेरी journey के बारे में अभी तक.
Amazing, and such a long way that you've come, in these 8 years. So Ayesha, was there any pivotal period in your life where you felt, there was something that changed or something that moved for you, that made you make a decisive change in your career, or something that moved you towards luxury content consulting?
Right. I think सबसे जो एक important moment था मेरी career journey में, वो ये था कि after I moved from Karachi to Dubai, I had to practically start from scratch. Kyunki a lot of international publications, one of the criteria that most of them have is that you need to have prior experience in an international publication. And having worked for a national magazine, national title in Pakistan, it didn't really fit that criterion. तो उसकी वजह से ये हुआ कि I decided that I will need to start from the ground up. I should take up this internship and kind of prove my mettle and rise through the ranks. And I know that this isn't an easy choice for a lot of people, especially people who have worked in positions of seniority, because आपको जब वो सब छोड़ के, when you have to start all over again,
ego का मामला आ जाता है ना, like how can I do an internship?
मैं तो इतना senior position पे काम कर रही थी, अब मुझे internship करनी पड़ेगी. तो वो एक ऐसी चीज थी जो कि मैंने समझा कि ये एक investment है मेरे career में, and ये कि ये एक opportunity है, it's a challenge that I need to take up and I need to show my worth. So that's basically how I decided to land that take on that internship. And वही हुआ कि internship ने थोड़ा pay off भी किया, because then once I started working there, I was working closely with the publisher of the magazine, with the editorial team, and उन्होंने मेरे काम को सराहा, उसको recognize किया, and then within 6 months, I landed a position with them, which was of editorial assistant. And then, it just went from one step to the other. And then within the organization, I continued to thrive. I got honestly invaluable exposure during my role. So that's basically, how it went about. And ये मेरे लिए इसलिए भी बहुत important था, special था, because currently I'm based in the UAE, and यहाँ की जो market है वो highly competitive है. And you have the best talent and the best resources from around the world working here, vying for positions. So as a Pakistani who was just starting out in this new market, I think, I took real pride in achieving this. कि मैं एक internship के through मैंने शुरुआत की है, और अब जो है alhamdulillah, I've come far. I mean, still a long way to go, but it's a good start. Alhamdulillah.
That's amazing. And that now that you mentioned being a Pakistani and going for such a position, such a coveted position rather, especially when it comes to editor of Villa 88 and interviewing the high profile people that you spoke about earlier as well. If you could tell us, did it intimidate you at some point when you were going for those interviews or interviewing someone, or is there some snippet of that time that you want to share with us and how you overcame that?
Sure. I think obviously thoda sa, because the nature of my work was such that I was dealing with extremely high profile people on a daily basis, चाहे वो किसी photo shoot capacity में हो, interview के लिए हो, या फिर किसी event के लिए हो. So initially, yes, I had a few, which is completely natural. आप थोड़ा सा feel करते हैं, you feel a bit overwhelmed. I think that might be the right word. But eventually, I told myself that I'm here for a reason. And, my managers, I'm so grateful to them that they thought that there is something in me that mujhe is tarah ke agar clients ko manage karna ho, so that's something that I can do. So credit unko bhi jata hai ki unhone wo mujhe ek boost diya that I needed at the time. And then once I got into it, thankfully the people that I've worked with have been incredibly down to earth, extremely kind. I have had the privilege, for instance, of working closely and interviewing Sheikh Lubna Al-Qasimi, who was the first female minister of the UAE. And she is an incredible woman with a pool of knowledge. And unke saath bada hum casually baith ke, we were just having tea and we were talking about life and her work and her contributions. And it was such a pleasure and thrill to see all these incredible women doing amazing things and learning a lot from them in the process. So for me, it's been more of a learning experience as opposed to it being one where I have to worry about, how I'm dealing with it, should I be here or not? So मैंने इस चीज को very early on in my career embrace किया, and उसके बाद फिर ये journey चलती चली गई.
Zabardast. And if you talk about society at large, luxury content consultancy is not something we hear of very often. So if you want to talk about how your work has impacted society at large and why is that important?
Zarur. So I think कुछ चीजें हैं जो कि luxury content creation, it adds great value to the things that people want to know about. कुछ चीजें ऐसी रही हैं कि it's important to understand what luxury consultancy is all about, first of all. पहले तो ये कि ये एक niche form of journalism है जो मेरी अभी तक journey रही है उसमें. When I say niche journalism, it means that the focus of it is on a specialized audience, because luxury जो sector है वो एक बहुत select और specialized sector है, and उनका जो palette है वो बहुत different है from the masses, right? तो सबसे पहली चीज जो मेरे काम ने की है या जो मेरा मकसद एक रहा है to promote through my work, it is to create an understanding of luxury and artisanal brands, right? And these are centuries old brands. If you look at their history, if you look at their savoir-faire, it's centuries old, and they have so much to give, so many stories to tell. And whether it's a couture dress or a timepiece or an artwork, there is so much work that goes into each of these pieces. And we have artisans spending thousands and thousands of hours into just creating one piece, right? Which for me is a work of art. I think मैं decorative arts जिनको कहते हैं, उस पे भी मेरा focus रहा है as far as my work is concerned. So I think it's really important to develop that understanding of what luxury brands and crafts have to offer. and it's more than just a shiny object, which at face value it's considered to be. दूसरा एक काम जो मैंने अपने तौर पे किया है, ये कोशिश रही है मेरी, वो ये है कि मैंने अपने, especially in my role as the editor of Villa 88, I have tried to celebrate the work of emerging creatives from around the world. And our focus primarily was on the GCC, on the Gulf region. So यहाँ के Saudi, Emirati, Bahraini, etc. जो artists हैं, creatives हैं, who have been doing incredible things, who are emerging on the landscape right now. तो उन पे मैंने कोशिश की है कि मैं उनको एक प्लेटफॉर्म दे सकूं. I shine the spotlight on them, show people what they are worthy of. And उसके अलावा, I think another really important aspect of my work has been that मैं hospitality groups पे भी हमारा काम रहता है, because a part of my job has been to work closely with luxury hospitality brands and F&B, etc. So I think that one of the most affected industries around the world because of COVID-19 has been the hospitality sector. And these brands, especially the luxury hospitality groups, they have been trying day and night to provide immaculate service to their guests, because that's what their USP is, that there's absolutely no question when it comes to their service. So वो चीज़ retain करना, अपने आप को sustain करना in such a difficult time, I think that the least we can do for these incredible brands is to provide that platform to them and to educate people about what services they're offering. And एक चीज़ बेमिसाल I think is really important, and ये एक ऐसा discussion है जो कि मैं या काफ़ी और जो editors मेरे former colleagues रहे हैं या हम कभी बैठे होते हैं तो we've discussed this कि it is a reality that the media landscape is evolving, and जो एक print की एक जो value थी earlier on, that is unfortunately diminishing. But जो luxury magazines हैं, and मैं हमेशा उन्हें ये कहती हूँ कि luxury magazines will always find a place in the hearts of smart tastemakers, on the coffee tables of your homes, because they are practically coffee table books. They are works of art. And they will always, just like a beautiful piece of work, and for anybody who appreciates beauty, who finds beauty in the little things in life, I think for them, जो luxury magazines हैं, they will always stay relevant, and जो उनका the feel of a luxury magazine, the glossy paper, the print, and everything about a magazine, the photo shoots, I think it will always have relevance.
And that audience will always stay, regardless of time and changes.
Absolutely.
Going back to your position, leadership role, in fact, at Villa 88, the best leadership lesson that you learned or you want to share with the audience?
Sure. So I think that for a leader, and especially for women leaders, I think एक बहुत important aspect है, and because we need to consider ourselves as role models for future generations, I think it's really important for us to understand that जो हमारे natural instincts हैं of compassion and empathy, उनको intact रखना when you're working as a leader, when you're working as a line manager or an employer, I think that is so important. And I think this applies to both men and women. Sometimes in the process of, and I know कि obviously because unfortunately कुछ ऐसे prescriptive biases हैं जो कि deep rooted हैं in society, उनकी वजह से women especially, they feel the need to behave a certain way to be taken seriously. And that is something that I know women struggle with, and I acknowledge that struggle. But I think that there is a fine line between being assertive and aggressive. And when it comes to men and women in leadership roles, I think it's so important to ensure that you don't cross that line. Because when you do that, you close the doors to a lot of young employees who look up to you, employees who look up to you. या आपकी जो team है, आप उनको ये बता रहे हैं कि you're not accessible, and that you will not be looking out for them, and that उनका जो personal एक ladder है, career ladder है, उसमें आप उनकी help नहीं करेंगे. And I think these are all extremely discouraging elements when it comes to being a good leader. And I think your team should always know that they have your back, that you're looking out for them, you will acknowledge them. And I think वो verbal acknowledgement बहुत ज़रूरी है, which I think, again, because of the fast pace of today's world, a lot of employers tend to forget, या उनको time नहीं मिलता कि वो personally acknowledge करें. और एक बहुत important चीज़, और वो ये कि एक दूसरे से पूछें कि आप कैसे हैं? How are you? And this is something that we were discussing earlier on before we started our conversation as well. Ye question, agar aap, especially in today's day and age, in the age of COVID-19, where a lot of people are bearing the brunt of it, they've suffered through personal losses. किसी ने अपनी जॉब लूज कर दी, किसी ने कोई अपना loved one लूज कर दिया है, इस तरह के टाइम में. And even if not that, I think that working in this climate in itself has been extremely challenging. And for a good leader to just sit down, take 5 minutes out of your time and just ask your employees and your team, how are you doing? I think that makes a great leader. And that's where your victory lies.
That's true. And, you know, we are humans at the end of the day. And
absolutely,
we have our own baggage of emotions that we're bringing to work. And work is not just a few hours, it's all day long. So it, you know, it adds a lot more value to the work that people will do if they know that they are seen and recognized for who they are. That's excellent advice. So much. Any advice that you received when you started your career or during your career that has stuck with you so far?
एक ऐसी एडवाइस है जो मुझे थोड़ा लेट मिली अपने करियर में, शायद थोड़ा अगर पहले मिलती तो पर्सनली मैं बेहतर फील करती, एंड इट वाज टू जस्ट टेक अ स्टेप बैक एंड ब्रीथ. Honestly, it's just okay to calm down, take a moment. काम भी भाग नहीं रहा है, आप इधर ही हैं, सारा काम हो जाएगा ultimately. But it's so important to sometimes, if not all the time, detach yourself from the work that you're doing and just take a moment out for yourself. And I think especially since there's so much more awareness about mental health, and we talk about these things more now, which we should have much sooner, I think it's so important to give yourself that break because the work never stops. So I think that's something that's really stuck with me.
Absolutely. The work is never going to stop. It's you who needs to calm down, pause, take a break.
For sure.
What skills have you developed in your personal or professional life through the experiences that you've had in your work?
So, Bemisal, I feel that my work has truly been pivotal when it comes to shaping me professionally and as an individual. तो एक aspect जो मेरी job का रहा है वो ये है कि I've had to travel extensively to represent the brands that I was working with. And that is obviously, again, key to niche lifestyle journalism. And that really helped me boost my confidence. And this is something that, you know, I always say that travel जो है, जिस तरह का exposure travel आपको देता है, and the kind of, you know, experiences that you gather when you travel, meet new people, engage with different cultures, understand new cultures and everything, I think that really is invaluable when it comes to shaping you as a person. And then as I mentioned before, I think the confidence that my mentors and my managers showed in me very early on in my career, that really helped enhance my interpersonal skills. For instance, it was actually very early on during my time at Harper's Bazaar that I was given the opportunity to represent my brand at the Surrealist dinner, ये एक prestigious annual dinner hai that takes place. And that dinner took place with Prince Albert II and Princess Caroline of Monaco. So I traveled to Monaco very early on in my career. That was actually my first international business trip. And I dined with royalty. So that kind of exposure for me was unimaginable because I didn't, you know, enter this job thinking कि मुझे ये benefits मिलेंगे या मुझे ये perks या exposure मिलेगा. I was just starting a very humble internship. So उसके बाद ये experiences हासिल करना was truly, it's been something that has helped shape my personality. And I think another really important thing is dipping my toes in a string of areas. And I think this is so important for young journalists, for girls and boys who are just starting out in the field, ये समझना और acknowledge करना कि ये एक changing or evolving landscape है. Journalism today is not what it was 10 years ago. It's constantly changing. उसकी जो demands हैं, requirements हैं, वो change कर रही हैं. And now जो एक standard, एक definition था of a journalist कि you conduct interviews and you're sitting at your desk typing away, that has changed to quite a great extent. While it remains to be one important aspect of a journalist or content creator's job, it's also important to develop several other skills and gain education in things like digital marketing, for example, because we cannot really stick to the notion that just serious journalism है वो सिर्फ वही है जो आप print में देखते हैं. I think you can add value, you can bring quality and your own style to anything that you're doing, even if it is on the digital front, on social media. आप अपने काम की quality किसी भी platform पे दिखा सकते हैं. So I think that that's really important कि आप इस evolving media landscape को समझें and अपने skills को enhance करें in a wide variety of things and not just writing, which is needless to say a really important aspect of what we do. But in addition to that, I think it's really important to keep all those other aspects in mind too. And I think that's also what helps you become the best in what you're doing. Another thing is, I think meeting tough deadlines and staying up all night and being a single person in a lot of the structures, organizational structures I worked in, as far as my team was concerned. मैं one-person team के तौर पे बहुत time तक काम करती रही हूँ. So it does have its downside because it takes away a lot of your free time. But at the same time, I think उसका जो benefit एक रहा है वो ये है कि now I have gained experience in a wide spectrum of things, which I know I can use as a consultant. या मेरी कोई भी अगर आगे job होती है तो उसमें मैं इसको I can put this to good use. So I think just doing that right at the beginning of your career is going to be really helpful.
And also being open to learn, right? Because you wouldn't get these skills unless you're open to learn. If you keep rejecting everything, this is not my work, this is not my work, this doesn't come under me. You won't be opening yourself to things that you didn't even know you could learn or sort
Absolutely.
of. You spoke about this dinner in Monaco. When you meet these type of people, do you feel that I have to show my Pakistani side to them, or I have to I'm representing Pakistan here? So, or did you get any questions that you're from Pakistan or something like that? If you could talk.
Absolutely. I think as an expat, Bemisal, I think not just as far as my interactions with these high-profile people are concerned, but also in terms of the job that I'm doing. I think that मेरे लिए ये एक priority रही है that the way I conduct myself and my work ethic essentially reflect on Pakistan. That's the mindset जिसके साथ मैंने अपने काम को approach किया है. And I think that for all us expats, it's so important to represent our country, show a softer side of our country, which unfortunately hasn't been portrayed in the media. And there are a lot of preconceived notions, a lot of misrepresentations that are propagated through media channels. And when they meet us in person, I think a lot of them get debunked. So I think that has been really important for me. Balki, it gave me a great sense of pride when actually I interviewed Christian Louboutin, who is a master shoemaker. He's known for his red soles. And back in 2017, he visited Pakistan for the first time. And I was overjoyed when I published that interview on Harper's Bazaars, in Harper's Bazaar, Arabia, where he talked about his love of Pakistani textiles and miniature art. And he was just, it was such a wonderful moment and milestone, a personal milestone for me as well, because I got to represent my country and I got to talk about it, which was...
It's a big thing that, you got to talk about Pakistan to someone as big as him. Now, coming toward STEAM and women in STEAM, do you feel that there's something that's lacking generally in the arena of women in STEAM in Pakistan and even otherwise?
बेमिसाल, I think that एक जो aspect है which I really needs work, and in all honesty, this isn't just for women, it's also for men. It's that हमारे पास कोई proper platform नहीं है जिसके through हम अपने बच्चों को, अपने youth को educate कर सकें कि उनके पास क्या opportunities हैं. And हमारे पास वो I think mentors की भी कमी है कि जहाँ पे people can actually sit down and counsel a young mind and sort of help them determine what their true calling is. So I think that's something that really needs work, I think, at all levels. University level पे ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. I know that there are career fairs that happen in universities, and that's great. But at the same time, I think a lot more can be done, because ये ऐसा time होता है जब I think you really need guidance. And sometimes I feel that people don't understand that their options and the opportunities that they are not just limited to a certain country, right? So I think it's really important to understand कि अब जिस तरह के climate में हम काम कर रहे हैं, jobs are without borders. There's a lot of remote working that's being done as well. And, you know, children need to be educated on this, कि उनके पास क्या opportunities हैं जिनको वो avail कर सकते हैं, या वो किन से बात कर सकते हैं, या फिर जो किसी भी university के जो graduates हैं उनको वो किस तरह से approach कर सकते हैं, who may be working in their fields of interest. So I think it's really important to build that sort of network for our youth and for women in STEAM, so that they understand what options they have, what opportunities they can avail on a global level, not just in Pakistan.
Absolutely. And also, I feel the reason also we wanted to feature you for this live sprint was to give people an idea of how many different types of career options they have as well. What you're doing is I would say rare, in the sense that people don't really know much about this field, know much about how to start in this field. So was there any assumption about you while you were working that, you know, people used to have that, you know, what is she doing here, or anything like you felt that this was something that was assumed to be me? Number one. And number two, I would also like you to talk to the young girls out there and guide them if they want to, you know, venture into what you're doing. What's a career path that they should be pursuing in terms of study as well as working?
Sure. So I think आप जब assumptions की बात करती हैं तो उसमें I think one thing that crops up in my mind is, and I've gotten this question a lot, I'm not sure if I should be happy about it or if I should get offended, but it is, how is your English so good? And I think ये जो सवाल है, it's a little difficult to answer, but I think कि इस चीज़ को मैं बिल्कुल personally नहीं लेती. वो इसलिए क्योंकि यहाँ पे कुछ और factors हैं which we need to take into consideration. एक तो ये है कि एक basic lack of understanding है of the Pakistani educational system, कि हमारे लिए English in, you know, a standard private school at least वो mandatory है from the very beginning, and इस बात की understanding I think थोड़ी कम है, and I kind of pin this on the way the media represents Pakistan. I think it all comes down to that. And a lot of work needs to be done, I think, on an individual level to sort of clarify and address these assumptions. But alhamdulillah, I think I haven't personally experienced any biases. I've been lucky enough to work with incredible individuals from around the world who have acknowledged my culture, who have embraced the fact that I'm from Pakistan, and have been very excited when I've told them कि हमारे खाने कैसे हैं या हमारा culture कैसा है. And some of them have also visited the country, which is great. And बाकी जो हैं, they've always been eager to visit the country. So
yeah, that's the first thing I do. I do tell them about our biryani. And
absolutely.
And I would take a box of mangoes to anyone who's not Pakistani. I'm like, you should try these. These are the best.
Absolutely. Bilkul, that's such a good conversation starter. I think, you know, taking a box of mangoes, hamare mangoes ki baat hi kuch aur hai. That's true.
Definitely.
So, yes. So I think
message to girls, yeah.
Right. So As far as my message to girls is concerned, एक तो ये कि सबसे पहले you need to know that it's okay if you don't have it all figured out. I think ये जो एक pressure डाला जाता है बच्चों पे कि अभी से determine कर लें, आप स्कूल भी graduate नहीं किया बच्चों ने and उसी वक्त उन्हें कह दिया जाता है कि you have to figure out what your next step is and what you want to do in the long run. I think that needs to be reduced, that kind of pressure. As an individual, sometimes you may want to do something, but once you've tested it out, you might not feel passionate about it. So it's okay to take a step back and reevaluate your options and see what else is out there that you can work on. So it's okay, first of all, if you don't have it all figured out. And दूसरी बात ये कि I think from an educational point of view, the good thing about content creation is कि अगर आपके पास कोई I personally did my bachelor's in social sciences and I majored in international relations. But then when it came to journalism, जिसको हम soft news कहते हैं, मेरा रुझान थोड़ा उसकी तरफ था. And then eventually I ended up in luxury lifestyle. So I think take it one step at a time. Education-wise, I think it's extremely important. I will not take away from the importance of educating yourself and then continuing to educate yourself. And when I say educate yourself, it's not just limited to what you learn at university. अपने आप को आप educate करते रहें through the courses that are available online. For instance, there are courses on digital marketing, which I think is such an integral tool when it comes to any content related job. आपको पता होना चाहिए search engine optimization के बारे में, CMS के बारे में, how you can use the platforms that you have online and social media जो आपके platforms हैं, आप उनको किस तरह use कर सकते हैं to your brand's advantage. I think these are life skills that you should have because we need to embrace the changing landscape and kind of, ride the wave. तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी है for every young girl to understand this. And in addition to the education that they are receiving at a university, इन चीज़ों पर भी ध्यान देना बहुत ज़रूरी है. So I think that's really important. दूसरा ये कि, like I said earlier, ये acknowledge करना कि jobs and जो opportunities आपके पास हैं, they are not limited to geographical boundaries anymore. So you need to understand that, especially in the field of journalism, especially if you're interested in writing, I think it's important to understand कि ये एक ऐसी job है which is without borders. And when you are figuring out where you can work, I think you need to broaden your horizons and see what else is out there, what kind of opportunities you can get on a global level. And go for it and just apply for it. Reach out to brands with a portfolio. थोड़ा अपना writing portfolio भी generate करें, national publications में भी करें, वो भी बहुत ही invaluable आपको learning experience देती हैं. And उसके बाद अगर आपने international platforms पे भी काम करना है, so it's really important for you to build that portfolio. And once you have that in place, reach out to people. Just call a publication and ask to speak with their editor so that you can introduce yourself. A call, there's no harm in making one call. And email kare unko apna kaam. So I think it's really important for you to reach out, to be proactive and not limit yourself to the opportunities that have been presented to you. Create those opportunities for yourself. I think that's really important, especially for young women to understand.
And taking your example only, that it's okay if you have to, or if you want to intern and figure it out, whether you even like it or not, right? Like how you started off. I think that's a brilliant story to tell because a lot of people wouldn't consider doing that, especially after moving a country, being an expat. So it's really important to take that chance as well and then prove your worth through your hard work.
Absolutely. And एक बात मैं और ऐड करना चाहूँगी बेमिसाल if I may, कि luxury lifestyle एक बहुत ही brilliant sphere है. It gives you invaluable experiences. I mean, I've personally been immensely starstruck. बहुत से fascinating moments रहे हैं मेरी life में when it comes to, for instance, being invited to review a hotel in Switzerland where Audrey Hepburn got married, or go to a $45,000 per night Maldivian island where kings of different countries, they come and reside, and वो उनकी private vacation villas होते हैं. It's amazing and it's fantastic. And to be honest, it's not why I set foot in this field. It just so happened कि ये कुछ ऐसे exposures हैं जो कि मिले मुझे. They were part and parcel of my work. But at the same time, मेरा काम जो है, या any field, या especially journalism, and I say journalism because the teams are shrinking. Unfortunately, बहुत से publications जो हैं वो बहुत छोटी teams में के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, and it's really important to have that commitment to invest long hours, because honestly, bemisal, there have been days, there have been weeks and months where I've worked 7 days, literally all day, all night, especially when I'm working on deadline, when I have to send the magazine to press, for instance. Uska thrill apni jagah hota hai, because I'm truly passionate about this work. So I really enjoy doing it. But it comes with a lot of pressure. It's an extremely high pressure job. You have to deliver things and you have to make sure that you are meeting deadlines, which are very stiff. And it requires that commitment and that drive, and of course, that family support that you need to, do a job of this nature. And jab zahir hai, when it comes to travel, it comes to investing those long hours, you really need to have, you really need to keep these things in mind when you are venturing into something like that.
And being a woman and, having a family, it's really important to have that family support. This is something.
Absolutely.
In the first season, quite literally every single speaker that we had highlighted that, family support is so important, being a woman, because you can't otherwise. If you're not given that, where, you have that cushion of a few hours here and there, extra work hours, 7 days a week, that you really need that backing from your family for that.
100%. And I'm
my last question. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say that, alhamdulillah, I'm truly thankful to my family, to my husband, my family back home for their unconditional support, क्योंकि वाकई में उसके बगैर चीज़ों को achieve करना बहुत मुश्किल है. And I think that it works both ways. I think both men and women need that kind of support, that sense of, knowing that what you're doing is appreciated. Yeah. So I think that's really important.
Yeah. Coming to my last question, Ayesha, your message for LTech and women in STEAM?
So first of all, I think that what LTech is doing, what you all are doing, it's incredible. So thank you for creating this platform for women, for acknowledging women in STEAM, and for providing us with a platform through which we can reconnect with the youth of our country. We miss home and we miss our people. So एक ये बहुत ही अच्छा platform है जिसके through we can reach out to our people and tell them that we're here for them in any way that we can support them, guide them. बिल्कुल हम हाजिर हैं. And ये कि I think just keep doing what you're doing. Honestly, we need more platforms like this. And आप लोगों की support and मदद के साथ, a lot of people can actually realize their dreams. So thank you.
Inshallah. And thank you for giving us this time today, Ayesha. It means a lot. And everybody who's listening, I will be dropping Ayesha's LinkedIn profile with her permission in the group. So feel free to reach out to her. If you have any questions that you want to ask her, please reach out directly and we'd be happy to assist you in any way possible. Both you, Ayesha, and our audience, if there's someone to ask more questions or learn more about your journey. That brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much, Ayesha, for being a part of this. And we will be in touch. We will be back with another episode next week. We're featuring Dr. Anam Shahid Nawab. So we're going to be rolling out the poster for that on the group. So stay tuned for that. Like I said earlier, Sheilans 101 is still open. If you have any questions, you want to register, all the links are on the group. It has been a very tough week for women in Pakistan, and it's taken a toll on pretty much all of us, inside and outside Pakistan. Like I, for one, have not been able to sleep properly. So like Ayesha said, it is important for us to take a step back and breathe. So give yourselves that time this week. Take it easy on yourselves, and inshallah, we'll be back with another episode. Do drop in any comments or feedback that you have for us. And if you want us, if you know of anybody who you think we should feature for She's Soirée, please, you're more than welcome to let us know. And another thing I wanted to talk about was another feature that we're going to be starting on our community, on our Facebook community. It's called the Her Stories. If there's any business or any small home-based work that women out there are doing, STEM-related, STEAM-related, please let us know, and we'd love to feature that business or that the journey of that person. So that's something that we're going to be starting next week onwards. So stay tuned for that. And until then, everybody take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you again, Ayesha.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz.